Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing well and sorry for the delay in posting the next part of this tutorial. I've been catching up on all my commissions and Patreon work and I just needed to get on with it, and now I'm going to get back to uploading consistently hopefully. So yeah, sorry for that. But yeah, let's just get on with the rest of the tutorial. Everything that you need to know is listed down below, such as like the coloured pencils and the paper and everything, and I'll list part 1 if you're just coming across this video now and you want to start from the beginning. So let's just get started, shall we? Okay, I think I'm going to start on this front little leg bit. I just think it's easier to start with the bit where you can see some like clear dark areas, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just gonna get rid of any like little smudges or anything like that. I have lost my line drawing a little bit because of how much I've been leaning on it, but I can still see it a little bit. And I'm gonna use the base colour of the buff titanium and just start bringing it down. So this is the right foot. Well, it's technically the left foot, isn't it? Because it's the rabbit's left foot. Anyway, you know what I mean. And I'm just bringing it down. I'm gonna bring it down a bit more. There's like a weird like twig or something there, but I'm not gonna include that. I'm just gonna bring the foot down a tiny bit more. And then just gonna bring out a few little hairs on that right side. Soften it up. And just gonna do this left foot as well. So that sort of like comes out to here. And then I'm going to bring it down to about there, where that other foot ends. And then I'm just going to fill in this middle bit. Like that. Right, now I'm going to use the dark sepia just to map in where that really dark shadowy bit is. So let's see. So I think it starts about here. I'm just going to bring it down there. And then some little light hairs that I'm just going to leave a gap for there. And then sort of like goes there. And I'm just going to use the brown ochre 10% now to start adding a bit of peachy colour in. It's very like orangey peachy on this leg, but then it's a bit lighter here, so I'm just going to like bring it up here a bit. And again, it's a bit lighter there. I'm just going to bring it down that leg. And then I'm just going to blend it up in my little pointy shapes. And then you can see the little light hairs in between. Like that. And I'm just going to bring a little bit down from that top bit, but not all the way because I do want to leave it lighter here. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but I've got the window open because it's warm today. Finally got a bit of sun, so yeah, bird noises. It's not avoidable, they're so loud here. let's now do this left leg. I'd also got a bit behind reading all my comments as well. I hate that when that happens because I like to read everyone's lovely comments. And I loved the one, someone's drawing their own rabbit using this tutorial. And I love that. I want that to be like something that these tutorials can offer, like not just drawing it exactly as I am, but using it as sort of like a guide to help with your own drawings. Because that's like my ultimate sort of goal, that I want people to learn how to draw and then use that in their own work. So hopefully these tutorials help with that. Just gonna bring it up here a bit. And I'm gonna bring it down here a bit more. Blend that out a bit. Okay. Let's use Nougat, and I am just gonna go in this little dark bit first and just darken that up. Like so. And then I'm gonna do my little pointy shapes here just so I can see where this darker bit is and the lighter bit sits on top. So my little pointy shapes that meet at the top in a point and then sort of just come down like that. And I just sort of like vary the direction of the lines that I'm making so it looks natural. But yeah, after this, sorry, I'm just doing a little bit here as well. After this bunny tutorial, I think I'm going to do the duckling. But for a change, I might do it in graphite. I've had a few requests to do graphite tutorials, so I think that'll be a fun one. I think it'll look really cute in graphite, so that's a possibility. I also want to start doing more generic videos, not so much like step by step exactly how to draw something, but like videos to help with, if you're doing your own drawing, like how to use base colours, like my favourite base colours, how to add highlights, like 5 different ways to add highlights, that kind of stuff. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. When I get into like a routine with a tutorial, I find it hard to do anything different other than like just constant tutorials, so I think in between the next one I might do like a more generic video. Just bringing some down from the top. Again, I'm sort of just doing like alternating directions of the lines, still doing little like pointy kind of shapes, little upside down V's. And I'm just gonna like softly blend that out there. I have this big plan that I started ages ago to do like an ultimate guide to coloured pencils, and I would love to do that still. It's just my brain cannot comprehend how much I need to plan that video, so I have written a bit of a script for it, but to actually get round to it yet, I haven't. But yeah, there's all sorts of stuff I'd like to do, and I just need to do it. Getting into the swing of things now with Patreon, so I think I should hopefully be able to make some more YouTube videos. Just gonna carry on bringing this down here. And again, this bit I'm just going to darken up with some little triangle shapes. And just carry on making that fur texture. Just gonna like make it a bit more dense around here. Applying a tiny bit more pressure. Right, I'm going to use the dark sepia and just darken up this little dark shadowy bit. So I'm just bringing my little pointy shapes up. Going over, just darkening that bit up. There's a little bit of grass that goes up there, so just do a little line there. I'm not looking forward to this grass, I must admit. I hate drawing grass. It's not my forte. There we go. Blend that up a little bit, and we're going to use the burnt umber. And I'm just going to carry on going over these darker areas, and just blending that down. Just start darkening it up. Trying to follow the fur here, it kind of like comes down like this on that leg, so it's hard because you're doing like the fur in this direction here and then in this direction here, but you just sort of have to try and cross them over a little bit to get that sort of natural fur texture. Blending it into that dark sepia. Bring it up here. Looks a bit weird at the minute, but don't worry, we'll sort it out. I'll do a little bit here. And I'm going to start blending it down from this top bit. And just going to add a bit in here. And back to the Nougat, I kind of want to just blend this bit in a little bit more. So just going over it, just bringing it together a tad more, adding a bit more texture. Starting to come together a bit more. Blend a few bits up from the bottom. Right, I feel like I need a bit of burnt ochre. Bit of an orangey colour. Through this right hand foot or leg. Needs a bit more orange. And a little bit through this left one. And I feel like I need a bit of that yellowy colour there. So I'm just using the dark cadmium yellow. And I'm just lightly sort of just bringing it through this bit here. Just keep going over lightly till it's blended. That makes such a difference. It's all these little extra like colours that you add in that will really bring a drawing to life. Okay, let's leave that there for now. I think we need some dark sepia, and I'm going to start in this bottom bit near the start bit and just sort of start blending it in a bit more. Not pressing on too hard. Very lightly. Just creating a little bit more of a shadow underneath that lighter bit of fur. Just going to tidy it up a bit. Going to start blending it up a little bit. And I'm going to just blend it down a little bit as well. On the top. Just want to tidy this bit up. Just adding a bit more definition to these little pointy shapes. Just makes it look a bit more defined. And just blending it down a bit. Bringing it up here a tad. And just going to add a little bit more around here. And then carry on bringing it down the middle. Starting to look better. And I'm just going to add a little bit to the top of this leg, just to create a bit more definition there. But I'm not pressing on hard, I'm just sort of doing it quite lightly. And just blending it down. Okay, let's add a bit more nougat just through here, just to blend it all together a bit more, soften it up. Blending it up from the bottom, and a bit through here. And I'm just going to use the dark sepia and just define this a tiny bit more. Just bringing my little pointy shapes up a tad. I'm holding my hand a bit closer to the end of the pencil just to get a little bit more control. And I'm just going to add a few more little pointy shapes. Just to try and soften up that edge a bit. Right, and then I think what I'll do, I'm going to add a little bit of burnt umber to the edge of this leg, just to define it a bit more. Give it a bit more of an edge. And I might just use a bit of Nougat here where it's a bit lighter. Just doing a few little hairs. Just gives it a bit more like shape to it rather than it just sort of like disappearing into nothing. Let's bring a few down here. Do a few up here. I won't go too much higher though because you won't be able to see it. Just sort of like alternating the direction so it looks natural. Right, now let's do this whole bit. So let's do this little edge of this leg first. Buff titanium. Just gonna bring that down a little bit more. And then I'm going to bring this down here. Just want it to have a nice soft edge. Right, let's just do this bit first. I'm going to use the brown ochre. Just bring that down a tad. Brown ochre 10% rather. Then I'm just going to use the Nougat and just start to pick out where that edge of that leg is. Just doing my little pointy shapes. Alternating the direction that her hairs are going in. So some going that way, some going that way. Doing a few longer strokes. And I'm going to start bringing that Nougat down to meet that edge. And let's add a bit of the burnt ochre. A little bit. Get a bit more of an orangey tone. And then let's do this little bit and then I can see how dark I need to go with this leg. So buff titanium again. Get rid of any smudges and lines. Bringing it across. And I'm going to use some brown ochre 10%. And it is a little bit more white here. I've sort of like gone a bit dark there, I think, but it doesn't matter too much. I might be able to pick some out with the slice tool after, maybe. But I'm just going to leave it a bit lighter there and sort of do it from here. There are like little light flecks of hers, so I'm not going to do it like solid colour, just sort of going to do little strokes. And then I'm going to use the Nougat and just start mapping in the fur. Doing my little crossing over hers. I think that's one of like the most important bits drawing rabbit fur. That the hairs kind of like cross all over and they're quite like straight. I'm just going to map in where the edge is there. And carry on bringing that fur around. Kind of like weird colours as you get around here. I'll just add the Nougat for now and then I might add, I don't know if I need some like sepia 10% or something. We'll see. Right, I'm going to add a bit of burnt umber now. Just start darkening it up. So like I said, there are some like lighter hairs flecked through here. It's a bit lighter, so I'm not going to like do it as densely as I did over here. So I'm going to just leave some lighter hairs. I'm just going to bring it down here. Bring it through here, leaving a bit more of a gap between the hairs that I'm drawing. just add a bit more burnt umber here. And I'm going to add some more here. Bringing it round. I keep resting my hand on my pencil so it keeps making a loud noise, sorry about that. Right, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do sort of like the edge of the body, and then I can see how dark this bit is and then sort of like fill in the gaps in the middle. I just find that works easier for me. So, getting rid of the lines, just going to use the buff titanium again, and I'm just going to do some little hairs coming off the edge there as well, just to make it a bit softer and less of just like a perfect line, because that just would never happen on a real animal. And bring that down here. And then I'm just going to do this little foot bit. And again, just going to do my little sticky outy hairs. There we go. And I'm going to use a bit more of the brown ochre 10%. It's quite like orangey around here. Just going to focus that on the edge. I can add a little bit up here too. And some little hairs coming off. I am going to bring it all the way up. You can't, I think you can see that. But yeah, just bring it up to meet the bit that we did up here. There we go. And then carry on, bringing that down here. Doing your little hairs that are just like flicking off a little bit. And just blend that into the body a bit more. And then bringing a little bit down here, just on the top of that foot, and a little bit on the bottom of that foot. And I'm just going to add a bit more through here. Sort of like curving that background a little bit more. More here. Okay, let's add now some Nougat. So I'm going to start on this foot. It's like a little dark bit there. Just adding the detail into it. And there's like a little bit here, a little pointy shape. Here. And then I'm just going to do some little bits of hair flicking off the top. It's really softly. And I'm going to add some fur texture here. And then I'm just going to softly add a bit more over this bottom bit of the foot. And then definitely need to darken this bit up. Let's just bring that buff titanium down a bit more because there's like a shadow here that I've not quite got yet. So Nougat, I'm just going to bring that down even more there now. And then I'm gonna add some hairs coming this way. There's like a bit of grass sticking up there, so I'm just gonna leave a bit of a gap. And I'm gonna add some more brown ochre, 10%, just into the bottom of that foot. Blend it all in. Let's add some burnt umber into the darkest bits, like here. This little bit. Little bit, and I'm going to darken up this shadowy area by just doing some little strokes, sort of coming back into the body. Accidentally gone over that bit of grass. Oh well, I can always use the eraser and just sort of rub it out a bit. Add a little bit more down here. And going to blend a bit more Nougat over this bottom bit. Add a bit more here. And then I'm going to carry on, sort of bringing some little bits off the edge with that Nougat. Little hairs just sort of like sticking out. Crossing over each other. And I'm just going to start adding some more fur texture. Sort of like concentrating it around this general area. It's like a bit of a line of fur, if you can see it. And I'm also going to blend around here. Just going to keep like changing the bit that I'm working on so that I don't get like, I don't know what the word is, just to keep me, just to keep my mind active. I don't like working on the same bit of fur for too long. And then it's just a case of bringing it together a bit more. I feel like my hoodie thing's making a noise. My zip, I feel like it's like jingling. I'm just going to blend a bit more through here. Blend in a bit more from that edge. Doing some little hairs coming off the edge here, and I'm just going to sort of try and blend that back a little bit more. I might just blend that a bit more. And I'm just going to do that little bit there. I feel like there's a gap. Right. We're definitely getting there. Now I'm going to use, let's add that dark cadmium yellow. I feel like I definitely need some more of that through here. I feel like I know what colour I need here. I think I'm going to use the white at the end, sort of like blend it out a bit, and it'll add a bit of a cool tone. So I'm just going to concentrate this sort of like around this area, and then I'm going to add some to this area in a second. Add a little bit down here. And I'm just going to add a bit more around here. And add a little bit to this foot. A little bit here. And like I said, I'm going to add some to this bit. And this bit. Okay, let's use some burnt umber now. Just going to start bringing that through, darkening it up again. Especially around here, I think. This bit definitely needs to be darker. Just going to do some little strokes around here. Blend it up a bit. Darken up this bit. Do some more longer bits coming back. And I'm going to bring them down here. Going to bring some little like patchy bits through here. And carry on bringing some round here. bring some around here. Doing a bit more from the edge, some slightly darker little hairs. I'm sort of like doing a little bit at the bottom and a little bit at the end, just to try and get that sort of texture. To be honest, I don't like that even. No, I'm going to soften that up a little bit. Scrap that idea. I think it looks better when it gets lighter towards the end. And I'm just going to blend through there. And I'm just going to like sort of finish off this middle bit. Oh god, oh god. So I'm doing some coming backwards, some going forwards, just to blend it all in. And I'm gonna try a little bit of the Sepia 10% from the Luminance range. So I'm gonna try a bit of Sepia 10% from the Luminance range, just through this sort of area, just to add that slightly like purpley tone. Don't worry if you don't have this colour. It's just to add that slightly dull sort of grey purple colour. And I'm going to add a little bit here. And bring it up here a bit. I'll add a little bit to the top, you can't really see it, but just know that I'm adding it. Just carrying it on up here. There we go. And then I'm going to go in with the dark sepia and just add some more little dark hairs throughout here. Just sort of like few and far between, I'm not doing loads. So I might actually start on this bit. Just doing it in like little patchy bits. Add a little bit more here. Add some here. A bit more here, a few little darker bits. A few little bits coming off there. And I'm just going to darken up this little bit under the foot. So I'm just going to darken it up here. Add a little bit more here. A bit more here. And a bit more off the edge. little bits. And then just going to blend back a little bit more. A few more little bits sticking up there. And if it's too harsh, you can always just use the eraser to soften it up a little bit. Might do a few more little hairs with the Nougat, just to add a bit more of a softness, sort of like going down in a different direction. Some slightly longer ones. And again, you can just soften it up a bit. Add a few more here. Add a few more. And I'm gonna use, and I'm just gonna add a bit more dark sepia around here. A little bit more. And a little bit more. Just a few bits on that edge to darken it up. Maybe even a bit more burnt umber. Might just blend a bit more back in. And I'm going to start adding a bit of white, so I'm going to use the Museum Aquarelle white. And I'm just going to start blending it through here a little bit to try and get a bit more of that sort of light, like purpley cool tone, because the white actually makes it a bit more like cool once you apply it on top. So I'm sort of just going over, blending it in. So if you didn't have the sepia 10%, don't worry, because this will create a similar effect anyway. I might just add a little bit down here. Lighten it up a tad. Maybe a bit down here. Add some little flecks just throughout. I don't always do this, it's only if I know that I want a bit more of like a cool tone, sort of bluey purpley colour to it. If you want a really warm look, this doesn't work. go. Just going to add a little bit through this bit here. And I'm going to add a little bit more burnt ochre just through this bit of the foot. And I'm just going to add a bit more nougat just to blend that in a bit. A little bit more through here. And I think I might call it a day on that now. I feel like the grass needs its own part because it does take me a while to do grass, and I don't want this video to get too long, so I hope you've enjoyed this part, and I will see you in the next video for the final part. Make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.